Hey,
Howdy
what's
diddly
going on,
diddly.
everybody? Hit and move the Ned Flanders. Nice. What's going on, everybody?
Marino. What's happening?
Alan Diddlin, name Marino. You do that, and I'll do the crusty. That's all I got.
Oh, Scheisenhosen.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Battle Bros podcast with Mac and Alamo. I am Mac. This is Alamo over here to my
Alamo.
right, your left as you're looking. Welcome back to the show. If you're joining us for the first time, hey, glad you could check us out. Hope you enjoy it. If it's not your first time, appreciate you coming back. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, how was your Thanksgiving there?
Out frickin' standing. This Thanksgiving would have been, excuse me, in the last 2 weeks, this would have been my second turkey made, which I made with kind of like almost like a glaze, but probably more of a rub. I'm not. I kind of improvised for both turkeys and put the same rub on both. I guess you could say it's more of a rub. And holy shit, man! Just
yeah.
it came out so freaking good, bro. Oh my god, especially because when I make my turkey, I brine. So
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, and when you brine a turkey, oh, the meat comes out so tender. And I'm talking about like if you grab a leg, all you gotta do is just go, and it just pulls right off.
Nice.
Oh god, yeah, it's freaking delicious.
Awesome.
So how's yours, man? How's yours?
It was good. We kind of went a little low key this year. Not that I doubt either one of my brothers. I'm not the culinarily gifted one at all. No chance, no way, no shape, no how. Out the window. Both of my brothers just have a lot more experience cooking and being in the kitchen, all that kind of stuff. So we kind of just went a little bit different route this year. We were over at my brother's apartment, my younger brother's apartment, with his girlfriend, her twin sister, and then her fiance. Then it was me, my mom, my older brother, and then my daughter. And instead of doing turkey, we ended up doing homemade fried chicken, which was amazing because you could just sit there and just smell it in the house, in the apartment for like an hour and a half. Like we ended up making like just a giant ass batch of chicken, homemade mashed potatoes, homemade macaroni and cheese. We did stovetop, King's Hawaiian rolls. Like it's kind of some more traditional staples, but oh, and I got leftovers. And the most important thing. Okay, so I'm a big fan of the Patty LaBelle sweet potato pie.
Ooh.
Let's have a moment there, talk amongst yourselves. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I make some pretty banging sweet potato and pumpkin pie too, brother.
Pumpkin pie. I used to like pumpkin pie, but now you can taste a lot of the spice in like the allspice and the cinnamon. Just sweet potato pie, it doesn't have quite that earthiness to it. I like it a little bit more. So, but what I find interesting, excuse me, what I find interesting is how people celebrate Thanksgiving in different ways. So, like I have a friend of mine, ended up being by himself. Kind of just circumstances. His kids were with their mother, and then his other friend was out of town, so he ended up just going to Cracker Barrel. He's like, dude, I went to Cracker Barrel, ordered some stuff from there, and it was awesome. And it was
nice.
And for him it was great because he's by himself. He's like, I didn't have to cook, I didn't have to clean. It's okay, I would be really curious to see what people do, because like I've heard of some people actually just going out and getting Chinese food on Thanksgiving. I'm like, okay, that's different.
You get the roast duck.
Well, not even that. They're just getting like whatever. It could be crab rangoon. It could be sweet and sour chicken. Who cares? Like I'd be interested to see what people do. You know what? Hey, if you're out there watching and listening to the show, let us know. What do you do? Do you do a family dinner? Have you done different versions of that? I'd love to hear what that.
How do you cook your main feasts?
We got to be careful though, because this is also the number one cause of fires, for house fires, is during Thanksgiving, because people not
Yep.
cooking their turkeys correctly and not using too much oil. From what I understand, they're the two big causes.
Yeah.
So putting a frozen turkey in hot ass oil, and it's like, you are a go, preceded by a motherfucking no.
Yeah. My favorite thing to use is my favorite thing to use and well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to give my secret away. Never mind. But it comes out delicious.
I mean, I've had a lot of different turkeys that have come out great. Like, I've had people where they do like the flavor injector. They use a syringe and they like put like the different flavor stuff in the different parts of the turkey. Deep fried turkey comes out great if it's done right. I mean, and I'm sure everyone's gonna be like, "Well, I do it right." It's kind of like, going to a Puerto Rican household and saying, "Oh, this is okay flan. Like, we need to have, mira, you need to have my flan. My flan is so much better. Okay, this is salsa. This is salsa. My flan is perfecto. Mwah, because everybody's got their own flavor of pernine. They got their own flavor of flan. They got their own, like, everybody does their own thing different way, like mofongo and all that crazy stuff. Don't get me started. Like, everybody's got their own recipe, and theirs is better than everybody else. I freaking love it. However, I am looking forward, now that we're into Christmas, like, getting some coquito. That's the shit, man. Yeah.
Secret.
That look on your face. Yeah.
I've already got some.
I found a recipe that I'm going to try to make, and you can make it in the blender. Only thing you got to have is some clear rum. I was like, why don't you just put coconut rum in it? Like, coconut rum in the flavoring for the coquito. So it's like, anyway.
It's not a bad idea. I've never tried it, but
No.
the more traditional type is the standard rum.
Now, and I was told from my source, and you know who I'm talking about, about Yay Big. She said, don't use spice rum, use clear rum, because that is just the traditional way. And I'm like, okay. I would think spice rum and that would kind of mess with the flavor profile of that a little bit, but I don't know.
Not typical. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of
get like some Malibu coconut rum and put it in that, and just be like, be pretty good. So,
yeah, buddy.
So let's get into our show. How about it? We've been kind of yakking for about 8 minutes or so.
Don't forget last week.
Oh yeah, so last week we talked about, what did we talk about? What was the episode? I forget.
Rary.
Yeah. Oh, we were talking about dude, I had a lot going on today. I'm sorry. Yesterday and today.
Last week we were talking about the freaking whatchamacallit, the
yeah, and now you're doing it too there, dipstick. Jesus.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, I don't know.
The anniversary cycle.
The anniversary cycle, yes, the anniversary cycle. Oh my god, and it was right on the tip of my tongue. I got a Christmas tree today. Okay, I got my nieces over at the house and my boys, and it's a combo of like crazy that you don't want to think about. So.
Oh sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So last week we talked about the anniversary cycle and pretty much like how that can affect your mental health and whatnot. So yeah. I do need to explain something before we continue with this episode. So last week, because I had to cut off early because I got like very, very sick. Like I told Alma, I was like, I'm not feeling too good. So if I gotta cut the tow line and freaking ditch and all this stuff, I was like, and that's it. I was like, hey, gotta go. And I just, oh man, I was bad. I felt so awful. I was so embarrassed that I had to do that off the show. So I'm okay now. Yeah. Everything's good. Everything's right.
It caught me very off guard. Like there's a reason why I sounded flabbergasted by the end of the show when I was doing the closing, because I don't know if anybody else could hear it over the audio. I mean, if you do, just comment about it. But
no, don't need a comment. We don't need to talk about
it. I could hear yakking in the background, and I'm just like, anyway, and if you wanted to talk about the show or if you comment, and all I'm here.
Alamo, have you seen the movie Galaxy Quest, right?
Of course.
You should have just pulled that guy and just been like, oh, that's not right.
Oh, that's not right. Oh.
Totally
Oh my god.
Oh crap! So yeah, I apologize, folks. Yeah, I don't like being sick. No, I'm sure nobody.
Nobody likes being
I
sick.
like being sick. Said no one ever, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just it came out of nowhere, and it was just bad, and I felt bad too. Because afterwards, I was like, oh my god, you can totally hear that shit on the radio on the headphones. Like,
What's even worse is you turned pale
oh,
throughout the show.
I was sweating like a whore in church, man. It was awful. I was just, I'm told
Yeah.
my mom's in there. I'm like, I need some help. I need an adult. She's like, you're white as a sheet. I'm like, I know. She's like, ew, what happened to you? So thanks, mom. Love you for looking out for me and all that stuff. So yeah, so we're gonna end up talking. We're not talking about that anymore. Let
Yeah.
us never speak of this incident again.
Let
So
us flow.
we don't need to speak of this anymore. So anyway, so this week, since we just had Thanksgiving yesterday, we decided to do kind of just like a little bit of a fun episode, and talk about some favorite holiday memories that we've had in the service. Interesting places, interesting circumstances, how that what you recollect about those, good, bad, or others. So,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that kind of good stuff. And just other things that have happened too, different holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, the whole nine yards. So, yeah, let's kind of get the show actually started and get the ball rolling, and let's go from there. So,
Let's do it,
um,
baby.
yeah. So, starting off, I figured we start off with Thanksgiving since it just passed yesterday. But
Bada bing.
Thanksgiving is probably the big one for me. When I went to Afghanistan, I went over in the middle of the year, so we went from July to July. And I would say that Thanksgiving is probably one of the big ones that we had. It was cool because we had two of our NCOs, one of our team leaders, and our platoon sergeant. Pretty much took guard shift, and everybody else got to just kind of stand down and go to the defact on base, and had a pretty bomb ass turkey dinner for being, a third world country. But
Mhm.
all the props go to the guys that were behind the scenes. The contract workers that we had, I think from what was it? KBR, Kellogg, Browning, and Root. I don't even know if they're still really if the company's still around, but we had different contractors that we had culinary workers, we had laborers, we had guys who were electricians, plumbers, administration. So they kind of worked on the base with us, lived over there with us. We got to know them decently well. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, Thanksgiving was cool. And what was really neat is I remember we had our base commander, Colonel Guerin. So interesting story about this guy. Colonel Guerin was a brigade commander with the Tennessee Army National Guard. I don't even know if the unit's still around. At the time, it was the 196 Field Artillery Brigade. And what was cool about Colonel Guerin is he was probably the most respectable and chill officer I've ever served with. And I say that for this reason. Before he was an 06, before he was a full bird colonel, he was an E8 first sergeant. So to go that high up enlisted and then switch over and go that high up officer wise, it's like, damn, that's pretty fucking dope, man. So he was just a really cool guy to sit there and kind of he would always just kind of sit down and just randomly pop into one of the tables where all the security forces guys sat, the Sec 4 platoon. He'd just be like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" We're like, "Oh, afternoon, morning, sir, evening, sir," whatever the case may be. And he would just sit there and shoot the shit with us. There's been a couple of times I've seen him directly where he got straight up from, all the main officers on the base were all artillery guys. So they had their one table,
Yeah.
which had their crimson red tablecloth on it. None of the infantry guys sat there because, we're the queen of battle. That's the king of battle, but we're the queen of battle.
Yeah.
To be fair. So he was just, every once in a while, he would just kind of be like, "All right, guys, we'll break this up and we'll talk later." And he would just get up randomly and just go and sit with one of the guys, sit there having lunch. And he kind of took the time to get to know us, and it really just impressed upon me a sense of just kind of subtle leadership that you don't always see with certain officers, especially in this day and age. I mean, I don't know. I've been out for a while, but you hear a lot of stories about, leadership and kind of the not so good examples of leadership. But this was one of
Yeah.
the good ones. I mean, he was one of those officers like you'd bend over backwards to do anything for him. He was just a solid dude, and yeah, like that's like one of my better memories of Thanksgiving. That and dinner. So, what about you there, Alamo? What about Thanksgiving for you, man?
I got a couple of Thanksgivings that I spent not only
Damn
deployed,
it!
but yeah, what you call it? But not only deployed, but fucking
Living in the
when I
barracks,
was
right?
living in the barracks when I was over in Germany. Um, Funny thing about it was when we spent. I'll start with the barracks one. Um, it was basically a feast. Normally, like a lot of the times, most of the weekends, we would go out and we would have fun out in the economy, out in Vilsec, Germany, or basically whatever party towns we could find. Uh,
Did
you
they
know,
have to be party towns, or was that just kind of a given?
it was well, yeah, kind of a given. If you want you want to have a good time, you got to go to where
Check
most of the
that
big
box.
clubs are. Yeah, most of the big clubs are, and all that good stuff. And in Germany, surprisingly,
Discoteca.
there were quite a few. Germany was very not
Happening
gonna.
place, man.
Yeah, I would say Americanized in that sense.
Oh,
Um,
sure. Westernized.
Westernized,
Western.
yes.
Westernized.
That is a very good way of saying it.
You're welcome.
But I think this particular weekend, which was obviously Thanksgiving, we didn't really do much. We just kind of hung out, and I remember, a bunch of us, just cooked up a freaking feast. Go figure, it was most of the Latinos. We, we it was we had myself and we had Johnny. I think I've mentioned him to you, Pena.
Hey,
I
hey,
can't.
real quick. Cynthia just popped back in, so we got
Yeah,
to
I know.
ask her again.
I was just about to message
Hi,
you.
hi. Anyway, welcome back. Anyway, you were saying so you and Pena, right?
Yeah, Pena. He obviously showed he cooked something that was Colombian. We had another guy named Miranda. He was there cooking mofongo. Um, my buddy Kalfa, from what I remember, he cooked some kind of pasta. I don't remember exactly what it was, but because his family is Sicilian Italian, his mom, cooked with all the old fashioned fixins and everything else, and even down to the point of possibly hitting
In
him
the
with a wooden spoon.
ways of the old country.
Pretty much.
Yeah, man. Oh, my
And
mouth is watering right now just thinking about homemade
I
pasta. Oh
Oh,
my god.
dude, it was like we just us in the barracks. We cooked up like I think I had empanadas and rice is what I made. Um, and then we just cooked up a freaking feast in the freaking barracks like no tomorrow. Like it was nuts. Like we had so much food. Like the hunter platoon, which is like we had one section of the barracks, which we were on, I believe, the second floor. It was either the second or the third floor. The mortar platoon had all that side of the freaking barracks. Then, of course, the hunter platoon, which was our snipers, had the other section of the building. And it was funny too, because like the buildings, if you looked at it from above, kind of sat like that, and it was kind of, and we had like a little kind of high hallway inside here where it was like we had the dinette and everything else.
Okay.
It was packed full of food, and it was so packed full of food. We had such a feast going on that the fucking snipers who were getting ready to go to the club started coming out of their barracks, and they're like, what do you guys got going on there? You guys got some good fucking food? It smells like fucking food in here, man.
Well,
It's like,
they're probably using SILS, man. Like SILS is an acronym that you hear a lot for guys that do like reconnoitering or reconnaissance.
yeah,
Stop, look, listen, and smell. So they got to that smell of
yeah. They And needless to
What is that
say,
delightful aroma that I have engulfing itself into my nostrils? Yeah, man. That didn't make
needless to
any sense.
say,
I'm sorry, but it was
yeah,
just sounded funny.
needless to say, we freaking like we just went to town. Like we I mean, we had a ass ton of leftovers, man.
Oh yeah,
I
dude.
mean, we fed our platoon and some, dude, and it was just
Yeah.
insane. Like the guys came in there just grabbing freaking food. I probably made I don't know how many empanadas. I think I probably made shit. I don't even remember. I had to have made at least 20 something empanadas, maybe 25, and a huge
And
old
it's
big
kind
ass
of cool.
pot of
It's kind of
rice.
cool because you just like all the bonds of like you might be in like different units, like different platoons or whatnot, but just for that little bit of time, like all that
Yeah.
shit just goes away, and everybody's just like bonding, and it's like, yo, man, you gotta tell me how. Like, and that like the
Yeah.
cultural exchange, especially of food in that kind of situation, it's just got to be one of the coolest fucking things that happens. You're just like, dude. Like you got like country boys going, I ain't never had me no empanada before, but this is pretty damn good. I can just imagine you got some like, for lack of a better term, no offense to anybody, some like coon ass dude from southern Texas
Yeah.
or some stuff, just like, God dang, this is awesome. Heck
Oh,
yeah, man.
you know what? You know what? I think actually Ward made some gumbo because he's
Oh
from
yeah.
Louisiana.
Oh
Yeah, if I remember
yeah.
correctly, I
Now
think
we're
Ward made
talking.
gumbo. Now
Yeah.
I don't like I don't exactly remember because I mean we were drinking along with cooking, so Tez what
The
it
food
is in the
after a while,
barracks, buddy.
the quality was getting good. And then after this beer started, it's like,
Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, I got food in me, and I'm the what's is this my bed?
exactly. Jesus, man, that's so good.
Oh, it was amazing. Thanksgiving at the barracks was freaking awesome.
That's awesome.
Then there was obviously Thanksgiving deployed, um, which was interesting because we were on the cusp of doing this was right before we got into a 2 week mission. The 2 week mission that actually where my first firefight occurred, where like I actually engaged at the enemy, like I got a chance to shoot back, and we were out on a cop, which the less for the more civilian side of our show, which is the command outpost. Um, and we were out there in like some like the middle of nowhere Baghdad, which technically isn't really middle of nowhere. It's more of a urban area anyway. But I mean, they had a whole feast set up for us. I mean, we had all the fixings from turkey to the dressing, like anything you could think of that's Thanksgiving rise.
Mm.
We had it.
But
And
most important question: do they have the cranberry sauce in a little can? Pop that bastard open.
I believe we did have cranberry sauce, but I've never really been a big fan of it. I'm
Out
gonna be
fucking
honest.
standing. Hold on. We got a question coming in here from Cynthia. She's saying, are they flour or yuca empanadas?
Oh, it was definitely flour. It wasn't the yuca. For whatever reason, we had apparently a lot of Latinos on base at the time because unfortunately a lot of stuff was sold out. I got the discs that I was able to get.
You got
Um,
what you got what you got, right?
yeah. So
Hey man, it's all good.
you know, but I mean, Thanksgiving in Iraq, man, was it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. We still had a feast. It was us and obviously the hunter platoon, because we were the main freaking fighting force for our company at the time. Which again, we've covered this before. Which for me was HCC, which was headquarters and headquarters company. Literally everybody else was like logistical. We had our supply, we had our freaking intelligence, we had all those people in the company. Um, and then obviously the medical platoon. So for me, since we were mortars, and then we had the snipers. Since we had the snipers, it kind of worked out where we all ended up being in one single cop. The mortars and the snipers ended up being on one cop to freaking exfil from, and go out and do mission for 2 weeks.
Gotcha. So, what about Christmas? What are your fond memories of Christmas being in the service? It's got to be good. I asked him this question right off the fly. He's like, this is gonna be awesome. Did you just go Hank Hill on me a little bit? You're like, well, let me tell you about some propane and propane accessories.
So when it comes to Germany, right? Germany was, again, is a happening town, dude. It was freaking awesome. It was.
Most people would think that Germany is a happening country, but I digress.
Well, excuse me, happening country. Again, long day. By the way, I told you about Ghostbusters Afterlife, right? Amazing movie.
We're not even getting sponsored by that. That's not a show conversation.
No, I know it's not a sponsor, but still, though,
again,
I'm thinking about it. No, but yeah,
so you're not focused on the show. Awesome, good to know. This right here, folks. This is the fall of Rome. This is where shit falls apart, crumbles down.
Fun fact: when what was it? That year, for whatever reason, I can't remember how it happened, but I didn't have enough leave saved up to. I remember why. I went home for the summer instead of going home for the holidays like a jackass. And
you made a choice, man. That's all good. You're not a jackass for choosing.
But so for Christmas, it was very few of us left in the barracks. Like most of the guys, they saved up their time, and they waited for Christmas holiday to basically go home for a while. And it was the eeriest thing. Because I believe it was like the week the week of Christmas, we ended up having a whiteout. And most of us Northerners know what a whiteout is. It's basically when a huge blizzard comes in and like you can't see jack dookie.
Dude. You've been in Florida since high school. You're no longer a Northerner.
Yeah.
Just up and own it.
I'll give it to you. I probably, yeah. Either way, though, I don't know. I still feel like a Northerner real soon. But
you're that nice melting pot mix. You've got the Northern tendencies with the Southern values. It's not good or bad. It's just it's unique.
Yeah.
Own that shit, bro.
That whiteout though, and I'm a person that loves snow, and in Germany for whatever reason, the snow stays gorgeous. Like holy shit. It stays wonderful. Like, I mean, the roads, they look like roads. Like, I don't know what it is about the Germans. They keep their roads neat. You don't see any traces of that brown slush that you get anywhere in the United States when there's heavy snowfall. Me and my buddy Ward.
It's really Winter Wonderland, yeah, jawohl.
Yeah, me and my buddy Ward, we hung out literally most of that holiday. The funniest thing about it was Ward had never seen snow. That was literally his first time seeing snow. So here I am. I throw on my jacket. I'm like, yeah, let's go out and go for a walk. Let's go chill and just whatever. Bear in mind we were drinking.
Where is quick question? Where is Ward from again? Like what part of the U.S.?
Slidell,
Louisiana.
Slidell. Very close to Nolans, as he likes to clarify.
Nolans, yeah.
Nolans.
Absolutely. Not New Orleans, Nolans.
No, Nolans. And it was here's the hilarious part though, because he had never seen snow. He decided, again, when he decided, you know what? Let's go downstairs, Alamo. I want to go downstairs and I want to try something out because here's what's going to happen. I gotta do push-ups in snow. What? Why?
I was thinking
Because
like he was gonna make jump off the second floor into a snowbank and just kind of like just
it got bad enough where the snow. Yeah. Look, it got bad enough.
Did
Yes,
you
it
see
does,
what you wrote?
sis. Yes,
Yeah,
it does.
yeah.
But either way, so we go downstairs, and I got my jacket on. He hadn't even thrown on so much as a jacket. He's out there in his Timberlands with a pair of jeans and a freaking tank top on, and he's like, I'm gonna do a push up and lick the snow too. And he's there doing it like,
As Jamie Foxx said, blame it on the alcohol. That's what happened there. I know I'm aging myself a little bit with that song reference,
oh
but
my god.
Jesus.
And it was freaking nuts, man. Most of the holiday season, we spent our time blitzed and just like doing like dumb shit with each other, man. Like I remember
So
Christmas Eve.
is it safe to say that during the blizzard, y'all got slizzard?
That's a very good way of saying it. Yeah, we because
Well,
it was a lot of the PX and stuff like that. Like they were open, like for people that actually because
which
you had
means that the
spouses and
class
stuff.
6 was open.
The class 6 was open, yeah, and we picked
For
up.
those at home, those that are playing the home game right now, the class 6, if you're not familiar, so there's different stores when you go to like a military base. You have the commissary, which is going to
Yeah,
be like your grocery store. You've got the PX where you can buy anything like materialistically, like clothes. You can go and you can buy sound systems. You can buy games, computers.
check on
Hell,
that,
you
baby.
can like I think the one in McDill, they even have you can buy firearms there. Like you can buy like guns and stuff at the PX in there. So the
No
class
kidding.
6, yeah. Last time I was in there, that was years ago, mind you. It's embedded into our soul. Whiteouts are no joke. um,
Yeah.
so the different stores you have in there. So like class 6 is class. So when you talk about military goods, there's 10 classes of that. Class
Yes.
6 is personal consumable goods, which for
Yep.
this purpose of what we're talking about is going to be the liquor store. So you go in there, and
Alcohol.
what's great about that is, there's good and bad things. There's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad things.
A
The good
lot.
the good thing is that, for those of you that want to indulge responsibly, and I say that with quotation marks in the air with my fingers. If you
Yeah.
want to indulge responsibly, that's where you would go. And what's really neat about it too is they usually can get, or they usually have a nice selection of stuff from all over the world. Like you can get stuff from Spain, Europe, the whole 9 yards. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
The bad thing, as Alamo just gave us a description of, is that for two younger guys that have nothing better to do than to get slizzard during the blizzard, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you
Basically.
got. So,
Um. But yeah, man, it was a bomb ass freaking holiday. Regardless, I didn't have
and this
family
was this
again
was
around.
Christmas, you said?
This was Christmas, yeah. But I mean, you know, I had my other family with me. I didn't. So it's not that I didn't miss my family, but at the same time, you know,
Couldn't go home.
having couldn't go home, and having my other family with me helped ease the little bit of sorrow I felt at the time about not being able to head home for the holidays. Then New Year's came along, and let's just say that was a blitz fest. Again,
Let me ask.
everybody. Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
cu- I'm curious, man. So being in Germany, how do the Germans celebrate New Year's? Is it kind of the same way that the Americans do it? Is it, more so? Is it
Um,
subdued? Do they don't? They're like, whatever. What is
it's
that like?
it's a little bit it's a little bit, I guess, different in the sense that I don't think they focus on the partying as much. It's more of a family oriented kind of affair, or at least at the time, it was very much more so of a family kind of oriented affair. Um, we were, from what I remember, we were out in, I can't remember, some club or something like that was having like kind of like a New Year's bash, and from what I remember, it was because there was only a few of us left in the bar. I think out of my platoon, the whole platoon, there was probably, and there was like 32 of us. 32? Shit, hold on. I'm having a brain fart. Hold on. Actually, it might have been 32 because we had our driver's section for the platoon sergeant and everything too. Um, there was literally, I think, like 12 of us left for the holiday, left over in the barracks, and
Would it be a safe bet to say that nobody in this group was over the rank of E5?
I think two or three of them were. I think a couple of them were squad leaders, but they're.
So don't get ahead of me here.
I
So
hear you.
it would be safe to say that the E4 mafia was in full Lord of the Flies effect right now.
You could say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The funny
Check
thing
that fucking box.
the funny thing was is that our squad leaders, for the most part, they were like, because obviously we had check-in over the holiday week, and they were like, look, especially my squad leader, who was Sergeant Rob at the time, he goes, look, I don't want to come back on base and have to deal with y'all fuck asses, and I really just want to chill at my house, so don't make me come back on base to kick y'all's ass for y'all doing something stupid. It's just like, yes, Sergeant. Okay, I'm going home now. I'm gonna have a beer.
He's gone. Let's be stupid.
It was yeah. So, but New Year, like I said, New Year's was interesting too, because like most of the people that were out partying it was obviously all young people. I mean, young people from the German economy, and obviously young soldiers and airmen or whoever the hell else was out there. But New Year's was a freaking blast too, man. We had good food. We freaking went out, partied. I Not that I wanted. Well, I probably shouldn't say that part, but I did kind of black out. But I'm not going to go too far into it, just because.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me give the show disclaimer here. So this is from a time when Mr. Alamo, to my left over here, might not have been the most responsible adult at this time. And you know what?
No,
That's okay. We still love him the same. We have no qualms about not passing judgment. Okay,
Yeah.
this comes at a young man's life when he gets out away from home for the first time. He just goes, there's alcohol everywhere.
As John would say, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's drink.
Yeah, bro. Bro.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Get yourself a beer, man.
Nice. Yeah.
So yeah. Then and then for Christmas, I mean, in Iraq, I mean, we had just moved bases. We left Baghdad to go to Wajahia. That's like the Diyala province. They called it the breadbasket because there were so many guys that hid out there. And we were worried about, and because my unit specifically was QRF 32 Cav, they wanted somebody that could quickly move from base to base in order to go ahead and get the enemy. But when we got to the new base, which was at the time Camp Warhorse, the funny thing was when we got to Camp Warhorse, our tents were literally just a tent. It was those big ones that kind of look like the old like military, aircraft and mechanical hangars.
Yeah, it's like a Quonset hut. And you can
the big aluminum and
you can crank it up on the ends like that. Yeah,
the big aluminum and blue plastic freaking whatevers. Yeah. So to be completely honest, we spent Christmas Eve building our hooches from probably like in other words, giving ourselves walls and sectionals and things like that, so we didn't have to look at each other's freaking wieners when we woke up. Because a lot of guys slept naked. Let's just be honest here. It was the military. So this is the military. So
The
we built
U.S.
our
Army. Here's the U.S. Army, sponsored by Oscar Mayer. Jesus. Or
So
Johnsonville Bratwurst.
yeah. So we we were building our walls.
No more wieners, man. Not doing it. No.
And
Tired of
then,
all the damn wiener gays going on.
yeah.
Bunch of weirdos.
So we built our hooches and got all that put together, and then Christmas Christmas Day,
I'm trying to keep it together, man. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Last week, how I got you flustered. Fucking what is this?
Doc Roscoe!
Doc, good times at Walmart. He said Wiener Gate. What the hell?
Yeah.
Oh my god. So anyway, yeah, like I was gonna say, it's like last week you got me flustered. Now I'm sitting over here trying to keep my composure together to do a show, and I'm all flustered. He's like, "Let's stare no more wieners." No. I'm just like,
it was funny though, because like we obviously, like I said, we freaking we built our hooches, and then freaking I believe, if I remember correctly, after that, the day after, we freaking, which was Christmas Day, because I think we had that week off, because we had like a full 2 weeks off because we had to prep for going out and doing the 2 weeks of getting to know the people out in that area and all that good stuff. And I mean, again, it was because it was just hanging out with the boys and stuff, man. It was very chill. I played Xbox most of the time. I was very, very much into Skyrim at the time. Or no, it was at the time of Oblivion, because Skyrim hadn't come out yet. And I played it on my laptop through like a little video converter. Miss you too, Doc. Best damn Doc in the battalion, baby. Whoop, whoop. What you call it? It was, and it was, but it was fun though, regardless, because we just kind of just spent time chilling the fuck out. And then I think I've video chatted a couple people back home, and then that was pretty much about it. There wasn't really much that we did.
Doc sent you a heart face emoji.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But what about you, man? You had to have like freaking some weird freaking funny times in Christmas over there, man.
So Christmas, not so much. It just Christmas came and went. It was just kind of a normal day. We really didn't do a whole lot. We were still on base. I will say, you talk about like, your buddy Ward seeing snow for the first time. I had that experience, for pretty much my entire life. Born in Virginia, but I was there when I was very young, so I don't remember a whole lot about it. But
I still can't believe he did push-ups to lick the snow. Fucking Ward.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand, as infantry soldiers in the United States Army, we will do some just asinine fuckery. People look at it like,
yeah.
We did what? And like honestly, it's like people just look at us and go, "The fuck."
Yeah,
we get that a lot, and we're used to it, and that's fine. It's just part of the culture of being a grunt. So
tis what it is.
Tis what it is. Tis what it is. So Christmas, there wasn't too much of like I don't remember a whole lot about Christmas. I do remember like seeing snow for the first time. I was on the front gate working the ECP, the entry control point for our.
Mm-hmm.
So where we were at, we were on an Afghan base, and we had like one small corner of the main base up in northern Afghanistan. And security forces, my battalion was a battalion task force that did security forces for all the different bases that our guys would be on. So we were responsible for that little small perimeter right there. And one of my good buddies, Broomfield, Broomy, if you're out there, man, miss you, love you. We were out there, and I guess I don't forget where he grew up, but I was sitting there, and I was just literally dumbfounded. I'm just like, holy shit. He's like, what? I'm like, dude, is that snow? He goes, yeah, you ain't never seen snow before? I'm like, no, that's kind of awesome. Now, mind you, I was 21 and naive and fucking stupid at times. So I was just like, that's super cool, man. That's awesome. It's snow. Like,
Yeah.
snow is cool for the first 5 minutes, and then you had to live in it all the time, and it would just get on everything. Okay, so you got to understand, in Afghanistan, the sand over there in dust is so fine, it's like talcum
Mhm.
powder. It's like a
Yeah.
combination of moon dust and talcum powder. And it just like, and if it
There
gets
are
wet,
areas in Iraq like that, bro. I think I know where you're going with
oh my
this.
god! Like, so if that shit gets wet and you step in that, like, dude, your boot would be so damn heavy. Like, it was like you stepped in
It
wet
was like,
cement.
it
You
was
had to
like
like get a hammer and a chisel and knock all that shit off your boot. It sucked. It
the,
was fucking garbage.
the suction that gets
Oh
caused
my
by you just going,
god!
you would step down and just go, and it'd be like,
Oh, it was terrible. So the guys in Vietnam actually, the Green Berets in Vietnam had a way that they got through that. They didn't wear
yeah.
boots. They would just go in. They would like put their foot in, bare feet, and they would walk in. And that way they would go, like put their foot in. They would kind of like peel it out, and then it would go forward like
Mm-hmm.
this. It was actually ingenious. It didn't make that
Mm-hmm.
slurpy noise. But what I did, I kind of I was kind of proud of myself. I like fuck. We got mop gear. I'll just wear my mop over boots over my desert boots, and it solved that problem because like the tan boots at the time were like that suede leather. So I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. And it just like it would stick to rubber, it would get on that, but then you just take those off and you go indoors in your hooch or whatnot, and you wouldn't have mud and shit everywhere. So it's like, all right. A couple guys
Fair
kind of
enough.
followed my lead, and they were like, it's not a bad idea. So Christmas wasn't too bad. I do remember a holiday memory of us, because we're all Florida National Guard guys. We took a couple of empty ammo cans and took a bunch of snow and packed them into snow bricks. Hold on. Excuse me. That was terrible. And
Mario.
Alamo, I love you, but I want to punch you in the fucking face right now, you asshat. Anyway.
It's me, Mario.
Would you shut up and let me tell my story now, you jerk? Anyway, so we had a couple of empty ammo cans. I forget what size they were. Probably like the 240 belted link belt ammo. And we made bricks, and we made a fucking igloo. And I was like, that's the coolest shit ever. We made an igloo out of snow bricks made from from ammo can and stuff. So we're all there's a picture, and I wish I had a copy of it, but it was amazing. There's like 5 different guys in the platoon sitting out there in PT shorts and like Hawaiian shirts and like tank tops and stuff, all sitting out there. And we were they were all like sitting there reading a copy of FHM magazine, For Him magazine, and they sent it into him.
Before it got disbanded and shut down.
Before it got shut down. But
Yeah.
well, this is like 2005, 2006. But yeah, like they made an igloo out of like they made bricks of snow using an empty ammo can with no lid on it. It's like, that's fucking badass. Like, that's cool as shit. So there was that. New Year's, I think. Oh, there was that, and getting into snowball fights with the Terps. Like right up there at the ECP, right across the way was where all the hoochies, where all the interpreters lived. Oh man, we get out there and pelt them sons of bitches, man. Just and it was fun. Like they had fun with it too. Like we weren't trying to be mean, but it was one of those things you do, like that loss of having that little moment of innocence stuff, like just sitting there just wailing on these guys. Oh, it was funny. New Year's was interesting. I think we had a couple of different like ODA teams at our Special Forces ODA teams that were at our base. And I think a couple of guys went out. So like one of the things I hope you didn't lick the yellow snow. Cynthia, when it comes to your brother, all bets are off. Just saying. So one of the things that we did, I'll have to get a picture of it sometime.
Is that a lemon snow cone?
No, it's not mango. It's not that good stuff that you get. That what's that stuff you get in Puerto Rico? Like the shaved coconut and the shaved ice and shit. What is that?
That is called piragua.
Piragua, yeah, that mango
Piragua.
piragua. Oh, it's not that either. So don't eat that shit. Anyway, freaking. So we had originally we started off in a very small section of like where we were, and then it kind of grew out into a much larger area where we had a lot of transient huts and some other stuff.
Yeah.
So all four squads in our platoon were in two super B huts that held two squads each. So what was cool though is in the back of the other part of the base we had a very very large stockpile of lumber. So we had a couple of guys go out and they built. So what would happen is like when you're on the two B huts like this, you'd have to walk down a couple of steps, walk across a concrete pad that was like the base. So a couple of guys went out and like over the course of a day or two built a nice wooden deck. So it would go straight across from one B hut to the next, right? So you didn't have to go down to the concrete pad. You didn't have to step down 3 steps onto the concrete pad. You could just stay right there on the wooden deck. Well, then somebody got the bright idea where we put a second floor up on the deck. So we had like a sun deck up top. It's like, go figure, Florida Guard guys. Like, of course, we're gonna do some goofy shit. It's like Florida man in the military. So we had like an upper deck to that, and it was pretty cool. But I do remember for New Year's we had some guys from SF that went out there on the top on our sun deck, and they were just sitting there hitting like those little pin flares and just like popping those off and shit for New Year's and stuff. That was pretty cool. Because at that point also it was about the halfway point of our deployment because we went from July to July. So a lot of people kind of considered that like our halfway point. So yeah, you know, it was pretty fun. I don't remember too much else about Christmas other than the fact that like I hung up some Christmas lights that somebody sent over to us, which were awesome because it was just a string of white Christmas lights, didn't flash, didn't do any of that goofy shit. But what was cool about it though was that the lights themselves were colored because somebody had taken some fired shotgun shells and like the empty plastic hull and they crimped the ends back into the inside and just stuck it over the light and it would be like green and I was like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. Shotgun lights for Christmas. Hell yeah. I got a picture of me sitting there in front of the end of my B hut where
that's a Florida Christmas light.
Hell yeah. But I got a picture somewhere where I'm standing there and I've got like a Captain Morgan knee up. I've got a stogie in my mouth, smoking a cigar right in front of the shotgun Christmas tree light. Shotgun Christmas lights. I'm like, hell fucking yeah, this is awesome. This is America right here, man. Fucking
America.
America. Exactly. So, you know, so other than that, I think the only other memory I have of that is so on a different note, you know, other holiday stuff, you know, those are kind of the two big ones, but the other memory I have is I turned 21 like right after we got into country. We got into country like in July or so. So we flew out of Gulfport, Mississippi, July 4th, took a couple of days to fly over and get to where we were in Kyrgyzstan. We were in Kyrgyzstan for I think 3 or 4 days. Then we went to Kabul. We were over there for a couple of days. Then we eventually kind of did the pilgrimage up to the northern part of the country. So like my birthday came pretty quick afterwards. I turned 21 in Afghanistan and it was like, hey, Mac, happy birthday. Go guard the front gate. You got guard duty. I'm just like, hey, that's funny. They're like, we're not joking.
I turned 22 in Iraq. So
happy birthday.
It was, yeah.
I do remember. I don't want to name names. I don't want to name names, get anybody in trouble for past stuff. But somebody kind of hooked up had some Russian brandy on my birthday for my 21st. Boy, that shit fucking burned going all the way down. It's like, and mind you, that was when I was younger and I was a little bit of a pansy and I couldn't handle that shit. Not that I can do much better now. I'm not a very good Irishman. I'm sorry to all the Irish people out there. I'm sorry I'm letting you down. I'm a terrible Irishman. I'm not a good representative of the country. I'm sorry.
Another holiday. I almost forgot to mention that. Another holiday that I had another Thanksgiving in Germany.
Okay.
This one was a little bit crazier.
Oh, good. It gets better.
Bear in mind, we went because of the way my deployment worked. It was a 15-month deployment, but a month and a half was getting equipment there was all the forward attachments and a lot of stuff going over, bringing everything over, and then everybody else is bringing the equipment back for the last month and a half or whatever. Well, we were there from October to October. Mm-hmm. We came back right before Halloween, right before it was right before Halloween. I think right in the middle of Oktoberfest. Which Oktoberfest is a hell of fun, but so we went out and freaking had a freaking blast for Oktoberfest, and then Thanksgiving we went to Sergeant Rob's house, and again we had just gotten back, and we'd been back for about a month. I don't want you guys
breaking up my fucking furniture.
Yeah. No, he was very loose that party. He was because he had been drinking Maker's Mark most of the night.
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
Yeah, Florida boy, by the way, from Tampa.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you guys are
like so he so I'd be like, because whenever, I probably shouldn't say this, but whenever we were off duty, he would have me call him Greg, because he hated being he didn't associate the rank when he with himself when he was off duty. When he was off duty, he was Greg. He'd be like,
I can understand that. Some guys, I know quite a few guys that have that mentality.
Yeah, and he was like, freaking in the kitchen. We'd cooked up turkey. I can't even remember if I brought anything. Like I know there was a whole bunch of cooking going on. Well, Greg decided he wanted to try and get himself a drink or whatever. He wanted to open up his new bottle of Maker's Mark, and he had a knife. He was using one of the kitchen steak knives, and for whatever reason, he pulled this way instead of going like that to pull the wax off of the top of the Maker's Mark. You know how the bottle is. Yeah. And he went, no, it wasn't that. It was.
No, are you serious?
And he just went, like that. I was like,
oh, shit. Oh, my God.
So the rest of the night, his wife freaked out. One of his daughters at the time just and fainted. And oh my God, it was absolute freaking batshit bonkers, man. We ended up taking him to the hospital. He ended up fighting the doctors that were trying to stitch up his chest because he literally drove a freaking kitchen steak knife into his chest. And we were just like, oh my God.
Please don't tell me he said, hey, it's just a flesh wound.
No. He was like, yo, he gonna take me alive and all types of crazy shit. Yeah, he was blitzed out of his mind. You did.
Amazing.
He hated hospitals, and he hated hospitals even more when he was drunk. But yeah, it was absolute fucking bonkers, man. Absolute bonkers.
Christ.
But yeah, that was our second Thanksgiving in Germany. The doctors had to come and tell us, like, look, if you don't get your friend in check and tell him that we need to fix him, we are going to kick him out and not fix him. And we're like, okay.
Was the doctor German?
I did a terrible German accent.
Okay, I'm just making sure. So I got
keine Schleimdistance more in the hand. I don't know.
He needs to get some help. You need to hold him still so we can stitch his chest.
You need to hold him still. The okay, so coming off kind of Russian. But
what the hell was that?
But it was. I would do Arnold, but I feel like that would be too on the nose. No. But yeah, man. The Oktoberfest was, again, like I said, Oktoberfest was nice and fun. Again, I got blitzed. I had no idea what the hell happened that night, so that's why I didn't talk about it that much. I know I had a good amount of fun. But yeah, as for that, I don't remember Jack Dookie. Halloween was fun. They don't really celebrate Halloween in Germany. It's more Oktoberfest. But yeah, other than that.
So
Good
You
times.
just made me. You just reminded me of a story. It's not anything to do with the holidays, but it's a funny story regardless. And
Mm.
I gotta tell this story because like one of the guys who's involved in this story, I don't think is here anymore. I don't. I think he might be out.
Ah,
Yeah, but so we were on. I was in weapon squad in my platoon. We were. I was a machine gunner, so I was a machine gun team leader, and we went on a mission up to a place called Kunduz, and up in Kunduz they had a German PRT, so they had a German base up there, and like they had like some like nice amenities and stuff. And one of the things that they had was they had like kind of like I guess the night one of the nights we were there they had like it was kind of like their version of sea rations, but like
yeah.
all the stuff they had was like all this like really good bread and cheeses and this cheese, man, this German cheese was like it was so aromatically pungent. It was just like you just like oh my god, like it was just curl your friggin'
Let
nose
me
hair.
tell you a little secret about that cheese. I think I know which one it is.
Oh my god, it
It
was
may be pungent, but that shit is
I'm sure it was.
good.
Like it smelled a little bit
It
south
is
of
good.
garbage, but whatever. So we were in a transient tent. So we were just staying there
Yeah.
over like 1 or 2 nights. So we were just in like temporary housing stuff, and all of us had cots. And it was at the time it was Staff Sergeant Jenkins. He's now a Sergeant Major over at Fort Hood, Texas. So shout out Sergeant Major Jenkins, Gator. Woo. Um, that's his nickname. He goes by Gator. No shit.
Ah,
One of the best NCOs I ever served with, man. No joke. Like just solid squared away fucking dude. Um, he had these two. He had these two guys in his. So he Sergeant Jenkins at the time he was a staff sergeant and he was a section sergeant with Delta Company. So Delta Company in an infantry platoon or in an infantry battalion, they're normally the guys that are mounted. So they kind of be like what you used to call your
gotcha.
11 hotels. They're usually running like heavy weapons like Ma Deuce, Mark 15, Mark 19, 50 cal, that kind of stuff. So there were two guys in his Delta section named Robinson and Watkins, and he called them the fucking Robin Watt show because these two clowns together were just always doing the goofiest fucking shit, right? Just the goofiest shit. So Robinson is off to the side, kind of. He's on the one cot, kind of at the end of this row in the tent, right? And we're all just sitting there laying in our sleeping bags and on the cots and stuff. And it was just one of those times like where you just sitting there. You should probably be getting some sleep, but we were up till 1 in the morning just telling dumb jokes and stories and just laughing our fucking heads off, right? So Robinson kind of passed out a little bit early. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Let me finish the story. Okay, and I'm back. So Robinson's off to the side, right? And somebody had one of those like C-Rat cans of that cheese, right? And what made me think of this is when you talked about seeing. What made me think of this is when you talked about seeing Ghostbusters. I think it was
Yeah.
Watkins. Watkins took this thing and opened it up just enough to where you could get that pungent smell of it. He'd sit there, and it was like he was playing shuffleboard at the Olympics. Just he took this thing, went whoosh, and just threw it across and slid it on the floor of this fucking tent, and it just went, and it literally just stopped dead center underneath Robinson's cot. Like it was the most beautiful sports play I've ever seen. It was just fucking spot on, right?
God.
So we're all sitting there, and then about 20 minutes later, we're sitting there talking, and all of a sudden you just hear, it's in my mouth. He starts freaking out, gagging, and we're all literally just sitting there pissing our pants. It was so funny.
Oh God.
Oh my God. Oh man.
Oh, that's
geez.
freaking funny.
It was the funniest thing. Oh man. Dude, no shit. It was the funniest thing ever. Oh God.
Oh, that's
It's
funny.
one of the funniest, happiest memories I have over there. It's
Oh
one
my
of those,
god.
dude. It's one of those times like you want to go to sleep, but your face hurts because your cheek muscles are just like doing this all night.
Yeah.
Oh god, but it was just so funny. So I miss those guys. I would go back and do that whole year over again just because those guys were great, despite all
Yeah.
the kind of goofy stuff that happened over there.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Same here, bro.
I would go to just to live that moment again. Jesus, it was so funny. He's just like, it's in my mouth. It's just so fucking funny. Oh my god.
Oh.
Well, folks, I think we've come to the end of this magical episode. So
Oh yeah.
we're gonna start wrapping it out. Thank you for kind of indulging us while we go through this holiday themed show. We want to do something a
Yeah.
little bit lighthearted because it is a special time of the year.
Yeah.
Before we sign off, we want to go over what we normally go over and just kind of tell you about what we're about and stuff. So in the process of coming up with this show and the idea for this show, we're talking about the brand and what we could do to help other veterans out. So we're sitting there thinking like we need some kind of like mantra or some kind of saying or something. So we came up with the battle. So since our show is called the Battle Bros Podcast, we came up with the Battle Bros Code. Okay, so it's easy to remember. You just have to remember BROS, the word letters and bros. Okay, so the first one being B, be tenacious. All right, do everything that you do to the fullest extent possible. Okay, don't go through life and regret things and think past things. Okay, if you're gonna do something, do it to the fullest intent, do it to the fullest capability. If you're gonna laugh, just go out there and laugh your friggin' head off. It's amazing. I mean, like we just did. I'm literally sitting here choking and turning red, and that's probably making Alamo laugh harder because he knows how I get and stuff. But just go out there and have that tenacity, have that vigor, and just especially nowadays, be tenacious
Yeah.
in your holiday times with your family and friends. Okay. R, refuse to surrender. Okay. There are going to be times that you get a little bit sideways, a little bit off topic, off subject. There's going to be times where things kind of knock your dick down in the dirt, and that's okay. No, nothing's perfect. It's not always going to be smooth sailing. There's going to be times where on the path of life where hey, you run out of gas, or you get a flat tire, or your sailboat gets a giant friggin' hole in it that you got to fix somehow, and
Yeah.
pull out your Ranger handbook and be like, well, let's try to make this work. Okay, that's okay. Things happen. Don't give up. Don't refuse to surrender. Okay, do not take no for an answer. Keep fighting to that objective. Keep fighting to finish the mission. Okay. Obliterate your obstacles. Okay, as that kind of goes hand in hand with that last one. There's going to be times where things get in your way. Things are going to happen that are going to impede you from getting to the goal you're trying to reach to. It might be a brick wall. Go over it. Go around it. Go under it. Sometimes you get some Bangalores, you get some C4. You blow that fucker down. Blow a hole in it, big enough to drive a tank through. Keep marching on. Keep DD Mao friggin' keep on going. That's distance direction to move out for those that don't know what that is. So don't be afraid to get creative and getting around those obstacles. Okay. Sometimes it's a think outside the box kind of situation. Lastly, S, seek out a friend in time of need. Especially the holidays are a great time of year. They can also not always be great for everybody. There's a lot of people out there that get the holiday blues, kind of get the holiday depression and whatnot for various reasons. It's not my place to say, why this is good, this is a bad reason. They just do. They just get them. Okay. It's important, to sit there and to reach out to people. I know if I ever need it, I can call this guy right here, and he's going to be on the phone with me within an hour or two tops. If it's not immediately, it'll be within an hour or two tops. Just be, hey man, what's going on? And we'll sit there and we talk stuff out. And, if we got to hash something out, whether it's about the show, whether it's about, other things in life lessons, life experiences, life advice, whatever the case may be. We don't want you to go down the road and become a statistic. And that's the reason why I wear that bracelet every single day. So there's 22 veterans a day on average that commit suicide. And the reason for this show is that our friend John became one of those 22. And, there's nothing we can do to go back and save John. I wish to God we could, because John was a great dude and was funny as hell. And, hearing the stories like we just told with other service members, where we're just sitting there laughing our heads off. It's kind of so sad that we think back to these funny stories we have of John and just go,
by the way, Cynthia's on, and she's she's my sister. She's the sister that actually met John at the wedding.
Oh, it's this exactly. If you haven't heard that choking story, go back in our archives or go back on our YouTube page, and there's a story we were talking about. I forget which one it was.
It was when Tisha was on.
Okay, yeah, that's right. So yeah, he's talking about choking, and John, you'd have to know John, but it's a funny story, and I didn't know it, and I heard it, and I laughed my head off. So, but like I said, the reason for this show is that John became one of those 22, and we want to stop that. That is our goal, our mission. Whether you come on here and you have information, get some information about having a resource that you can rely on. If you listen and just hear us laughing and laugh at something you remember from your time in the service, if it keeps you from having those bad thoughts or succumbing to those demons, then we've done something. If we can stop one person from making a permanent solution to a temporary problem, if we can stop one person from going down that road, then we've accomplished something, and that's very important to us. And that's something that we're just not going to. We're not going to be light-footed and light-hearted about it. Like, this is our mission. Like, we're not going to fuck around when we come to this. Like, this is the biggest pandemic and epidemic that is out there, is the number of veteran suicides and first responder suicides. Like, it's gone up tremendously, and shit's got to stop. Okay, time to call today. Time to make a stop. Okay, if you can't seek out a friend, if you don't have somebody you can call, okay, there are resources out there. One of the resources that we talk about every single show is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. You can call them 24/7. Okay, the number is 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. They'll have somebody on available that you can talk to, and hopefully keep you from having a temporary problem become a permanent. Have a temporary solution. Damn it, I'm fucking it up again. You don't want to solve a temporary problem with a permanent solution. Okay.
Bingo.
I do that every single show. I don't know why. It's just crazy. But again, with this episode, we wanted to keep it a little bit more lighthearted. We want to keep it fun and just tell kind of some funny stories. And I think we did a good job of that. Please, if you're watching at home, feel free to comment, whether it's on our YouTube page, make a comment on the show page when it comes up. Tell us your, funny story. Please tell us how we're doing. If you guys like the show, great. If you see something we can change, by all means do that. There are many different ways you can view the material. If you like our show and, maybe you don't like it, but somebody, hey, you should check these guys out. They have a good message, and hopefully they have a good message. It might be something you can watch, just kind of, cheer you up a little bit. Cause the one guy is, can cook empanadas and stuff. The other guy just got a big ugly head, and he's kind of stupid. Hey, whatever, man.
Which brings us to where you can see us and catch us and communicate with us.
Excellent. Go ahead.
If you want to get in contact with us, you can go ahead and show or contact us on the Facebook at www.facebook.com/battlebros.podcast. You can also catch us on the Insta at battlebros_podcast. You can also catch us on all the on all the audio platforms. Including why am I having a brain fart?
Spotify, Apple Podcast,
iTunes, Anchor app, all that good stuff. Also, you can also catch us on now Rumble, which every episode that is done on every episode that we do live here on YouTube automatically gets uploaded onto the Rumble, and at some point I will finally provide a link to that. The only reason I haven't put it up there is because I haven't figured out how to get the stupid link, but we will be getting that to you guys shortly, and you can go ahead and catch us over there also on the Rumble, and like, share, and smash that like button, smash that Rumble button if you ever see us over there on Rumble as well. And get that YouTube algorithm to go ahead and recognize us, and get that YouTube algorithm to go ahead and start getting our message out there. That's the only way that they're going to start letting us be seen more. And also give our show a follow and a like on any and all audio platforms that you listen. And you can, if you want to support us, you can do that right there on the Anchor app. All you have to do is go into the Anchor app right there, click on the support button, and donate that proverbial dollar into the tip jar, or however much you feel like doing.
Because $1 make us holla. Hi. So the last thing we're going to do before we close out the show, we haven't done this in a while because usually it's kind of week to week, but we're actually going to kind of tease a little bit of what we got going on next episode. So next episode is going to be our episode 22. It will be our last episode for this season. Don't worry.
Yes.
We're not going anywhere. We're going to come back stronger than ever. Okay.
Yes.
But with episode 22 being our last one of this first season, it's kind of a significant number. Like I said, 22 a day. So we're going to have somebody on. We're going to talk about suicide, and we're going to talk about suicide prevention, suicide therapy. We have a guest lined up who we actually met earlier this week. She is fantastic conversationalist. We had just a wonderful time talking to her on our Zoom call the other night. It was fantastic. I learned a lot. I think it is going to be a wonderful show. It might be a longer show, so foot stomp. It might be a longer one. It could easily go as long as 2 hours. I mean, I don't know. We sat there and just chatted the night away, and it was fantastic. So she's a wealth of information. She has a lot of things that she's accomplished in a very short time, and we are looking forward to having her on. But yeah, so next week we're going to end up talking about. Now I need to jog my old brain to remember John at the wedding. He was the one going. That's what happens. Yeah, from the story that
the choking man.
The choking man.
The choking man.
So, like we're saying, sorry for the folks that are just listening on audio. We're talking to a comment that's here on the chat board.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're gonna have our last show for the first season. We're gonna have a young lady on who I think is going to be a wonderful guest to talk to. We're really looking forward to it. It's going to be a really good show. We are going to then take a break. We're going to sign off for probably a few weeks at least until after the new year, kind of get through Christmas, get through New Year's, and then we're going to hit the ground running, come back stronger than ever. So don't worry, we'll be back, but we just want to get some time to kind of get through the holidays and kind of just take a little bit of a mental break, because it does take a lot of effort and energy to put a show on every single week for the past 5.5 months. I still can't believe that we are
virtual hug.
Oh, virtual hug. Thanks. Sorry, that got weird. Anyway, so please check us out. We got one more show for the season, and we'll be back after the first year. I'm rambling, so I'm gonna shut up now. But again, thank you very much for continuing to follow and continuing to watch the show. We are humbly appreciative of every single one of you. We thank you. We absolutely love you, and we hope to see you back again next week, and then when we hit season 2 sometime after the first of the year. So until then, this has been Mac
and Alamo
of the Battle Bros podcast. We want to say thank you so much. We want to say happy belated Thanksgiving, happy holidays, and we will see you next week to wrap up season 1. Until then, this has been the Battle Bros podcast, and we are out of here.
Battle Bros